One last question, perhaps just the short one.
Between all the movies that you have done, Mirror, Stardust and all, which one have you had most creative control over, and which one came out most looking like you imagined?
Oh, actually, the only movie so far that I can actually say I have really had creative control over and that came out looking like I imagined and that I was absolutely happy with has not yet been screened. It's about 8.5 minutes long, and I directed it, and it's a silent movie. And I made it about 3 months ago in London, and it's called Statuesque, and it stars Bill Nye, the wonderful English actor who you may remember as Slarty Bartfast in the Hitchhiker's Guide movie, or you may remember as having a face filled with wiggling squid as Davy Jones, thank you, in the Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Or you may remember from as a foul-mouthed rock star in Love Actually. And Bill Nye. And I found a incredibly talented, but relatively unknown as an actress, performer named Amanda Palmer, who is an American rock star. Has a background as before she was a rock star, she was a human statue. And it's a story about a man who falls in love with a human statue. And a different human statue falls in love with him. And what happens the night that he gets followed home by a human statue. So and it was the first time I've ever actually felt, okay, I have complete control. This is the thing in my head. I'm making it. Nobody else gets to tell me what it's like. Look, I'm even editing it exactly like I want. This is my thing. And it was glorious. It was absolutely wonderful. And in some ways it spoiled me. But in some ways it also confirmed me in my belief that really, if I'm making movies, there are two things I can do. I can either go, if I want a film with a graveyard book, I can either do what I did, which is say, I love Neil Jordan's work, I'd like Neil Jordan to do it. Not because his name is Neil, but obviously that was a factor. But because I loved his films Company of Wolves, The Crying Game, there was something in them and I thought this would be really good translated into that thing. So either you find somebody, or with Henry Selick, just give him time, let him get on with it. Matthew Vaughn with Stardust. Or you do it yourself. But if you're going to give it away, you have to be willing to give it away. People say, what do you think of Stardust? And there are two answers, and they're both completely correct for me. One of which is, look, I love the Stardust movie. I think it's a great film. I think it's an absolutely wonderful, rollicking thing. And I can absolutely see how it was inspired by my book, and I love those scenes that are the same. But I can also absolutely imagine 20 years from now, a different director reading my book and looking at the film and going, I'm going to make a film and that's my Stardust, and making an absolutely different film. Not even saying necessarily a more faithful film, just this would be somebody else's Stardust. And I'm really happy with that. But
you will love it just the same? And you will love it just the same?
If I think it's good. I mean, there have been adaptations of my stuff that I really haven't liked. And there have been adaptations. A lot of theater is very variable. Sometimes I've seen theater adaptations of some of my stories that I've gone, oh my God, this is amazing. And then I've seen theater adaptations where I have, after seeing it, I've quietly phoned my agent and said, if they want permission to do this anymore, or take this production anywhere, just say no. With films, I can absolutely imagine a world with Beowulf, for example, where Roger Avery would say, okay, I'm going to go and make my own version of the original script that Neil and I wrote for Beowulf, and I'm going to make it low budget. It's going to feel like an old Terry Gilliam film, and it's going to be people covered in shit, and it's going to be a 16-year-old Beowulf like he was in our script, so you can really understand why he thinks all of these people are sexy and horny, and why he's absolutely out for power, and why he's getting drunk, and then really have an 80-year-old version of him at the end who regrets the things that the 16-year-old version of him did. And we